Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our City Council meeting on March the 10th. I want to welcome everyone in attendance, all of our citizens who joined us tonight for this very important meeting. Also want to acknowledge all of our guests who are here to present and our city staff who is in the audience. And I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge on the dais here our city manager, Mr. Stephen Carter, our interim city attorney, Mr. Derek Challenger, and our deputy city clerk, Ms. Anita Sherrod. Thank you all for being here, and I will now ask for us all to stand for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I will now ask my colleagues on council to please note your attendance electronically.
7 members of City Council are present.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We have the minutes of a called meeting on February 9th, 2026, a called meeting on February 10th, 2026, a regular meeting on February 10th, 2026, a called meeting on February 21st, 2026, a called meeting on February 24th, 2026, and a called meeting on February 27th and 28th, 2026. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
Move adoption. Second.
Please vote electronically.
The minutes have been adopted 7-0.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And some of you, if you have a agenda in front of you, you may have saw where we had a presentation tonight. We have moved that to the next meeting to celebrate our track team that won the state championship. However, they are doing important work tonight by rooting on the girls' basketball team at Manor High School. So we'll entertain them on the next meeting. Madam Clerk, would you please read the City Council rules?
City Council rules require a limit of up to 5 minutes to speak. As you approach the speaker's podium, you will notice a timer. At the beginning of your 5 minutes, you will see a green light. 4 minutes into your remarks, you will notice a yellow light. At the end of 5 minutes, you will see a red light, hear a beep, and we ask that you conclude your comments at that time. While speakers have an opportunity to address council on matters of public concern, all comments should be made in a manner that respects the seriousness of the forum and should not be made in a belligerent, sarcastic, or demeaning fashion. All remarks shall be directed to the City Council as a body rather than to any particular member of the City Council, staff, or the audience, and should be limited to matters that only the Portsmouth City Council can influence. A speaker who fails to observe this basic rule of decorum will be deemed out of order and will not be allowed to conclude his or her comments.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We're now moving to the agenda item of public hearings, item 26-69. And Madam Clerk, would you please read the public hearing item?
Public hearing with respect to the adoption of a proposed resolution authorizing the provision and administration of project-based Section 8 vouchers at Ansell Apartments by the Norfolk Redevelopment and Housing Authority. The proposed resolution may also authorize the provision and administration of project-based vouchers at other affordable housing developments in Portsmouth by other housing authorities, subject in each case to express approval by the Portsmouth Redevelopment and Housing Authority.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a public hearing item. If you wish to come and speak on this public hearing item, you're not required to have signed up, but when you come forward, you need to state your name and address, and you will have 5 minutes. Seeing no one to come forward, this public hearing item is closed. We will be voting on this public hearing item under city managers heading with the consent agenda. Our next item, item 26-70, public hearing, Madam Clerk, would you please read the public hearing item?
Public hearing pursuant to Virginia Code Sections 56-575.17B, 15.2-1800, and 15.2-1813 regarding 1, the proposed submitted by Ripley Heat Wall Company, MEB, and their partners under the Virginia Public-Private Education Facilities and Infrastructure Act of 2002 for the construction of a new City Hall parking garage on the former site of the County Street Garage at 220 County Street. And 2, the potential conveyance of real property interests in the property by the city in furtherance of the project.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Do we have the presenters here with us? If you would come forward, state your name and address, you will have 10 minutes. There you go.
All right. Good evening,
Good evening.
Mayor Glover, Vice Mayor Moody, members of council, Manager Carter, City Attorney Challenger, and Madam Clerk. My name is Dan Heatwell, and on behalf of our team, I have the privilege tonight to present to you our proposal for a new City Hall and County Street parking garage. Next slide. Let's start with the why. The current City Hall faces many challenges common to aging municipal centers, such as aging systems, as evidenced by the current shutdown of this building, inefficient space utilization and security, inadequate technological infrastructure, and accessibility limitations. Next slide. Now let's talk about what this proposal is and what it is not. This proposal is for a new City Hall and County Street parking garage, and we are asking the city to authorize the negotiation of an interim agreement which will allow us to proceed with the necessary evaluation and due diligence to advance the design and provide the city with cost and financing options. This is not an approval to build the project or to proceed with a binding comprehensive agreement. Next slide. Now a little bit about our team. I'd like to introduce those members in attendance with us tonight. From Ripley Heat Wall Company, my partner, Jimmy McCune. From MEB, Mark Olmsted, Eric Keplinger, Justin Ballard, and Tripp Smith. From Clark Nexon, Scott Boyce and Danny Walker. And from Kimley Horn, Lawrence Benson.
And gentlemen, if you would like to stand so we can see what you look like. Yeah, okay, thank you. All right.
Thanks. Collectively, our team has decades of experience working in Portsmouth and have completed many municipal projects under a similar structure to what we've proposed, a few of which you can see here. All right, next slide. The City of Portsmouth has long identified this waterfront location as valuable real estate for the community and for economic redevelopment. The former jail is being demolished, the former public safety building has been vacated, and the current City Hall faces aging infrastructure issues which necessitated its closure currently. Moving City Hall is the final piece of the puzzle to unlock the potential of the city's waterfront and will serve as a new, vibrant central administration hub for the city. This project has been a goal of the city's for more than a decade, and as your #1 strategic pillar says, it's time to get stuff done. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about the proposed design and the project itself. What you see here is where the former County Street parking garage was, and the proposed location of the new City Hall, the new parking garage, and the extension of the Middle Street pedestrian plaza. All right, next slide. So this is an aerial view of what those new buildings would look like. Go to the next slide. So this project was led by Clark Nexon, who has conducted multiple programming studies for the city over the last several years. During those studies, Clark Nexon met with every city department, incorporated their feedback into the design, and that has led the scope of what brought us here today. Next slide. This is a summary of that programming study. the different departments they met with that have been incorporated into the new design, the total square footage estimated for each department, the personnel estimated for each department, and the overall building sizing that is proposed today. A few of the highlights. We tried to optimize departmental adjacencies, folks who work together on a daily basis on the same floor, adjacent to each other, so you don't have to go from the first floor to the sixth floor for meetings 3 times a day. Providing an accessible ground floor council chamber that is both easily accessible to the public and safe and secure. And then efficient delivery of services to the citizens of Portsmouth. So those services that they use on a daily basis, have those available and easily accessible on the ground floor of the building. So this is a proposed schematic of how that might look. The entrance from the plan view, the southeast corner, which will lead you into the lobby, council chambers, and then those city services such as public utilities on the ground floor, and on the second floor, registrar's office, city manager's office, city clerk, and other services such as that. Again, this is a rendering of the building. It's in keeping with the design of the current downtown while incorporating a modern flair to it as well. Some of the highlights of the building itself. Your fiscal budget identified this project, and it talked about a few key factors. One of those is a state-of-the-art advanced facility with the necessary technological infrastructure to allow the city to operate at its most efficient use. Prominent street frontage and an easily accessible entrance to the citizens. An extension of the Middle Street pedestrian plaza to activate and serve as a community hub. And then a parking garage designed to accommodate not just the new City Hall, but both existing and future downtown businesses. And again, this is sort of a close-up image here showing how the building and the parking garage would be incorporated next to each other. This is a perspective of the extension of the Middle Street pedestrian plaza that would lead you from the City Hall right into High Street. This could be activated for different festivals, farmers markets, things like that, or just serve as a natural gathering place downtown. This is a perspective as you're standing in the parking garage looking across the plaza at the new entrance to the building. You see the multi-story height, the grand lobby there that will serve as that main entrance for the citizens. So to summarize, moving City Hall from its current location has been a long-standing plan of the city's. As was discussed earlier today, when you have 42% of the land not creating real estate taxes, you have to get creative. And your most valuable land is currently occupied by a former jail, a vacated public safety building, and the current municipal center. By taking the first step to relocate the City Hall, it opens up a myriad of options for the city with this site. This transition could allow for new private tax-generating redevelopment of the area, enhanced tourism and cultural aspects, as well as publicly accessible spaces for the citizens. And with that, again, we would ask you to consider favorably the request in front of you to authorize the negotiation of a resolution of an interim agreement so that our team can continue working to present the best proposal to you all for your consideration. We have members from all aspects of our team here tonight and would certainly welcome the opportunity to answer any questions that you have. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Heatwell. Councilman Dodson, so you have the floor.
My concern is the same as it's been since this whole topic came up, is moving the City Hall a separate entity from just developing the whole site as to one. And I don't know which is a better idea, but I know that we as a team have not had that open discussion over alternative plans to this. And then that's my only concern here. The good idea about this one is that we can vacate this property and get it moving. And it gives us something to break off and chew and say, hey, listen, let's just get something done. But I really want to say we need to have a couple of minutes to ourselves to really vet through the alternatives to this plan at some point. I don't know if there's a plan for that or when that might be.
Thank you, sir. Councilwoman Thomas, ma'am, you have the floor.
Thank you so much for the presentation. We've been looking forward to hearing more about the plan and just starting this discussion today. One thing that I mentioned during our initial work session when this was first, the unsolicited proposal was brought up, is just, can you speak to, I see your team is here, but can you speak to how you have in the past, or even what's projected with this project if moved forward, how do you incorporate minority and women-owned business enterprises within large projects like this, and kind of speak to your track record there?
Sure. With these projects, there's a couple ways that happens. For one is hosting information sessions. So we will advertise during the, I guess, pre-construction phase of this job to get out to the community. We will host these events to say what type of contracts we are looking for, from everything from survey to electricians to plumbing to brick, you name it. All those trades will have an opportunity to come in, see what the available bids are, and we'll be able to apply for those. And then some of it is just statutory when you do a municipal project. Certainly those aspects have to be taken into consideration.
Thank you. So you would say that in the past with some of the projects you have done, is that something you've tracked, or can you provide maybe?
Sure, our
Okay.
team can absolutely provide
Okay.
record of past participation that we've done.
Okay, thank you so much.
Councilman Hugel, sir, you have the floor.
Thanks, Mayor, and thanks for the brief. Thanks for coming to us with your proposal. It's encouraging that we have a developer interested in working with us in a collaborative relationship. So when we were in Greenville, we saw a mixed-use parking garage. I wonder if you all considered that in the design. I bring it up for a couple of reasons. One, the ground floor of the parking garage is going to be facing the plaza. Be nice to have retail there instead of just cars. Two, seems like mixed use could help us defer the cost of doing the entire project by giving some other sources of revenue to help pay. And so I wondered if you had looked at that, thought about it, and maybe would consider that.
So, excuse me, the City Hall was actually, the parking garage is actually very advanced in design. That was under a separate CIP that the city did for a replacement of the existing County Street garage. So we incorporated that existing design into our plans. That design, we did have a slight tweak. The original design showed the vehicular entrance where the Middle Street Plaza is now. We felt from the idea of extending the Middle Street Plaza as pedestrian only would create a safer condition there. So we anticipate flipping the vehicular entrance to the garage, but we did not sort of start from scratch with that design, since the city had already invested, and that design was near 100%.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Carter, sir, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to add a little bit of context to this about what this actually is, what this is not, that we're asking for this evening. This is the conceptual proposed design from Ripley Heat Wall, and we really thank them and their team for being a part of this and bringing this to us for evaluation. This is an evaluation and a due diligence phase, not a get ready to build phase. We're requesting to negotiate an interim agreement. That interim agreement will take us, if we decide to move that forward, will take us through a 35% design of the building. When we negotiate the interim agreement, we'll bring it back to this council again for approval of the agreement before we move forward. Once we move forward, should the council agree to move forward, we'll work on getting to that 35% design. At the 35% design is when we'll get some really hard and fast numbers about what it is that we've done, any changes like what you're talking about, if we need to incorporate changes. We'll do all those things then. We'll evaluate what our options are as far as should we do this? Is there other things that we should do instead? That's when we'll work through all of those different options that we have. We'll get to the point then where we'll have some real hard and fast numbers about what this is actually going to cost. Right now, all we have is projections. What that process does is get us to the point where we know what this is going to cost, how long it's going to take, who's going to be involved in the process. What this is not is an approval of a final design. We know what's been proposed. We don't know what the final design is going to be. All right? This is not a guaranteed price. We know what's been proposed. We have no idea what the changes are that we're going to work out together to come up with a design that's going to be built. This is not an approval to finance anything. This is only approval to work on getting to the point where we have enough information to make a good, sound decision. And this is not a commitment to build a city hall at this point. This is a commitment only to see what we can do to get to the point where we know what we're going to really ask you guys for. So I just want to put that a little bit of context so let everybody know what we're asking for tonight. All right? We're not asking to build the building you saw in the picture. What we're asking for is the opportunity to negotiate with Ripley Heat Wall about what will it take to build the building that we need. All right. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Manager Carter. Vice Mayor Moody, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. Thanks for the presentation. You know, I've been on council soon to be 28 years, and I guarantee you in most of that 28 years, we've been talking about the need to get City Hall off the waterfront. So there's been lots of discussion, even among the current council members at our retreat. So this is, if it comes to fruition, it will indeed be not only a dream come true, it'll be in the best interest of the city. As you mentioned in your presentation, we've got valuable taxable property as part of that 42% of non-taxable property that Mr. Edwards, our assessor, went over earlier. My question, I know the outside design is conceptual design. At what point will you have an interior?
So one of the slides did show the kind of floor plate of each floor, what that would look like. All of the design to date has been dictated by Clark Nexon's programming studies. So they've done multiple studies with the city, interviewing all the different departments, and that's what led us to the design that you see here. That would be part of the ongoing, getting to that 35% design and in cost standpoint, would be re-engaging with all those departments, presenting options to the city, their working group, to evaluate and coming up with a design that works best for everyone, both on the interior and the exterior of the building.
And the reason I ask, obviously the exterior will be something admired by people driving by, citizens, but the people who work in there, that would be a concern of mine. Currently, to do business, most citizens have to go up to numerous floors. I would hope there's a lot of thought in making it more customer friendly by having a lot of those departments on even the first floor, certainly to be able to conduct business there, so the physically challenged people won't have to ride elevators to be able to conduct business with the city. But this is definitely needed and has been discussion. So yours is certainly one concept that we have before us, and look forward to the process proceeding. So thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. And thank you, Mr. Hibwell.
Thank you.
We do have a speaker for this particular item. Our first speaker is Mr. Gary Bahena. Mr. Bahena, if you would come forward, state your name and address. You will have 5 minutes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor Moody, Council, City Manager, Attorney Challenger. My name is Gary Bahena. I live here in Old Town at 428 North Street. Many of you know me for other reasons, mainly paddle battle and junior paddle battle. But I occasionally try to make a cogent point on something that actually is more important for our city, and this is one of those times. What some of you may not know about me is what I used to do for a life before I just moved here. For over 40 years, I represented developers, I represented users, tenants, I represented major federal agencies in doing developments like this. I've done developments from both as a lawyer and as a financial advisor. I've done developments as small as $5 million. I've done two, including one for a federal agency that was valued at over $1 billion. Bond financing. That particular deal involved bond financing. This used to be my bread and butter before I started just hanging out in Portsmouth and doing more fun things. I've offered my services to the city for free. I'd be happy to work with the city manager, to work with the city attorney's office for free. I'm not looking for anything. Those of you who know me well know I don't have an axe in this. I just want to make sure that we do it and we do it right. To that point, when we had the retreat, everybody went around that Saturday and talked about what happened on Friday and what their takeaways were. And I agreed completely with Mr. Carter. The big takeaway for everybody was get it done. Some of you did that with a southern accent that I'm not going to try to mimic, but it's get it done. And what Mr. Carter said and what I agreed with was it's not just important to get it done, it's important to get it done right, to be deliberate about it, to get it done right the first time, because we're about to embark on the grand redevelopment of the city of Portsmouth. And if we do something foolish, I'm telling you as somebody who lived and breathed and ate and went to bar mitzvahs and baptisms for lots of developers, sharks in the water and you're the scum. You're what they're going after. So don't make that mistake. To our point, some of you may remember we had an offer very similar to this back in 2018 and 2019 from Armada Hoffler. This is a slightly better offer for the city in that we're getting fleeced less. But Armada Hoffler's offer was they wanted the city to turn over the county street land for free. They wanted the city to turn over the plaza here for free. They were going to build you an office building, a city hall, a new garage, charge you full market rent for that garage that you just gave them the land for, charge you full market rent for the office building that you just gave them the land for. And then when it was all done and you were done paying off their mortgage with our city tax dollars, they would sell you your property back at full market value. I hear snickering, but you know what? That's what this offer is, other than they're not asking you to give you the public safety building in City Hall for free. I'm at a disadvantage from you. I can only see what was shown to the public. And what was shown to the public is, in very clear language, they'd like you to give them, they're asking you, that's their proposal, to give them the County Street property for free. They're going to own that property. They're going to rent you that property at full fair market value, including the parking garage. And then at the end of the day, you can buy it back for market. We haven't made a lot of progress since 2018. What I personally would ask you to do is to not move forward with the interim agreement until this issue is worked out. I know that during the presentation, the work session presentation, Mr. Donahue and Mr. Carter implied that we would own the land. That's not what the proposal says. And as somebody who's done a lot of bond financing, that's not the way it would be done. The person who's issuing the bonds is going to have to own the land because they're going to have to mortgage the property. That kind of is a package. That's the way we've done it before, you know, in D.C., in Maryland, and in Virginia. I would ask you to not move forward. But if you are, please make sure that in the months that you're working on the interim agreement, these points are addressed. Because we're going to look like fools if we pay for the land by giving it to them, if we pay for the land again by paying them rent, and if we pay for the land again by buying it back. Thank you very much.
Our next speaker is Mr. Mark Godaldig-Jutrovsky. Mr. Yatrovsky, if you would come forward, state your name and address. You will have 5 minutes.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and other neighbors. So I spent a good portion of last week looking over the proposal that is on the city's website. And there were a number of things that struck me about it, the proposal that we're talking about at this moment. In its entirety, it would be about 129 pages, but 56 pages of that presentation were not visible to me as a member of the public downloading from the link that was posted on the city's website. And the reasons, proprietary information, trade secrets, principally, which meant that there was no financial statement of the proponents to look at. The project description, 38 pages, the largest part of redaction, that wasn't there. I mean, there were 38 pages of project description that were redacted. Proposed schedule, I would think that's rather innocuous. 2 pages weren't there, and what was in the remainder of the document had nothing concrete in it. Development, financing, and operation, 1 page, not there. And assumptions of financial elements, 2 pages, not there. And services. I can't read my own note. It was 1 page, but it seemed like something that was an integral part of the whole to which the public had no access. So among the things that were presented, there was kind of a rogues gallery of major leaders of the 6 entities that go into this supergroup. And it was interesting to me to see that out of those faces that were pictured in that section of the document, there were 29 males, all looking to be European American, 4 females, all looking to be European American, and I saw no African American, I saw no Asian, I saw no other ethnic groups that would be readily identifiable by pigmentation in there. Now, at the end of the 73 pages that were accessible to the public, there was discussion of SWAM and reaching out to try to obtain minority contracting participation, and that's all well and good. But the people driving the project, the people identified in the picture book section of the description, they all look kind of like you and me, and that's not the kind of diversity that we should be seeking in a city that has an African American majority population. So how well can these folks reach out for minority participation? I'm not sure. I won't say it's not possible, but it's not the same as if you are integrated throughout the structure of the organization itself. I'll leave it there for now.
Thank you, sir. Our next speaker is Caitlin Serpa. Caitlin Serpa. Okay. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, this is a public hearing. If you wish to come and speak on this public hearing item, you're not required to have signed up. However, if you come forward and speak on this item, you will state your name and address, and you will have 5 minutes. Ma'am?
Shorty here. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of council, city manager, and staff. I am Lisa Lucasberg, former Vice Mayor of the City of Portsmouth and a resident of 1541 Rotunda Road in the City of Portsmouth. Thank you for this opportunity to speak regarding the unsolicited proposal to construct a new City Hall and parking garage. And thank you to Ripley Heatwell for their presentation and overview. As our city considers the long-term priorities, it is important that we carefully evaluate both the potential benefits and concerns associated with the USP. The potential advantage of building a new city hall. A modern municipal building can improve operational efficiency and accessibility for residents who rely on city services. A new facility may allow for departments to be consolidated, improve technology infrastructure, and create a more functional environment for the public and city employees, one of which I am a former employee. Construction of a new civics building can serve as a symbolic and economic catalyst. In other cities, a well-designed government center has helped to stimulate nearby development, attract private investment, and reinforce a sense of civic pride. If the proposal includes innovative financing structures, such as public-private partnerships, it may offer opportunities to reduce upfront public capital costs while leveraging private investment. However, there are also significant considerations and potential drawbacks that deserve careful review. One of the most important concerns is financial impact. When USPs are presented as privately initiated long-term lease agreements, financing obligations or operational costs may ultimately commit taxpayers to substantial future expenditures, as we have previously seen in the downtown tunnel tax deal, which continues to burden residents with increases for the next 40-plus years. Transparency regarding the full life cycle cost of the project is essential before any decisions should be made. Another consideration of opportunity cost. Our city currently faces major priorities, including a need for transformational waterfront development that can drive economic growth, expand the tax base, create jobs, and attract future residents and visitors. Investment in major civic infrastructure should be evaluated against other strategic projects that may produce broader economic benefits for the entire community, keeping in mind that older neighborhoods are in need of a little tender loving care, like updated street lighting and sidewalks to keep their communities safe. Additionally, an unsolicited proposal requires heightened scrutiny. While USPs can bring creative ideas forward, they also bypass the traditional competitive procurement process. To ensure fairness and transparency and the best value for the public, the city should consider whether an open solicitation process or feasibility study would allow multiple concepts and financing approaches to be evaluated. A good approach would be to open the RFP process within 90 to 100 days following the initial USP process to ensure fairness and opportunity to other potential developers while giving priority points to the USP group for their initial desire to invest in our city. Finally, there's a matter of location and long-term planning. A new city hall could align with the city's comprehensive development plan, and I believe the site that has been proposed might be a good one. In closing, the proposal may represent an opportunity, but it also raises important questions. The responsibility is to ensure that every major investment reflects sound fiscal stewardness and advances of the future we all envision for our city. Thank you for your attention and your consideration.
Thank you, ma'am. Once again, this is a public hearing. Anyone who would like to come and speak on this public hearing item can do so. If you come forward, state your name and address, you will have 5 minutes.
Hi,
Hello.
my name is Ariana McCoy. I live at 3718 Newport Avenue in Norfolk. I support the relocation of City Hall from 4 perspectives: as an urban planner, an architect in training, a former Craddock resident, and a former business owner in Portsmouth at 3505 Western Branch Boulevard. Portsmouth downtown and waterfront are among the city's most important assets. The city's own planning framework calls for walkability, mixed-use activity, and downtown vibrancy. Relocating City Hall better aligns a major public function with that vision. It also frees valuable waterfront land now occupied by a tax-exempt government use that is neither the highest nor best use of the land. That matters from a planning and fiscal standpoint, and the city's February 9th presentation states that moving City Hall would reclaim valuable waterfront real estate and open the door to tax-generating redevelopment, tourism, cultural activity, and a more publicly accessible shoreline. In addition to moving departments and offices, it's also about using one of Portsmouth's most valuable sites in a way that creates greater long-term public benefit. As a former business owner, I understand that civic investment sends a signal. Public buildings shape foot traffic, confidence, and momentum. A well-placed civic hub can support nearby businesses, improve the downtown experience, and attract investment. If the current site is redeveloped well, it can expand the tax base in a way a tax-exempt municipal use cannot. From an architectural perspective, civic buildings should express clarity, dignity, accessibility, and trust. And if the current City Hall has real functional and accessibility deficiencies, relocation is an opportunity to create a civic building that better serves residents and staff. Supporting relocation does not mean ignoring due diligence, but the core planning idea or ideas are sound. Move a limited public use off a high-value waterfront site, strengthen the downtown core, and create the potential for long-term public and fiscal benefit. Portsmouth should not be using some of its most valuable waterfront land in a way that limits both public potential and fiscal return when there is a real opportunity to create a more effective civic hub and unlock broader long-term benefits for the city. And I encourage that council move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Once again, this is a public hearing. If you want to come speak on this item, come forward, state your name and address. You will have 5 minutes.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of council, Mr. Manager, staff. My name is Fred Pasquin. I'm a resident at 370 Middle Street in Portsmouth. I am also the president and CEO of Fairlead. I've been in that role since 2017. We're a company based in Portsmouth. As I told you, I'm a resident of the Old Town community and neighborhood, been there since 2020, and since about 12:45 yesterday afternoon, I'm also the president of the Portsmouth Partnership. That just happened yesterday. And the Portsmouth Partnership is a group of business leaders, community leaders that look towards the good of this community. In 2019, Fairlead made a decision to purchase this facility behind us at Wavy Street, 12.5-acre yacht repair facility. And we had learned on a Wednesday afternoon that Ocean Marine and Yacht Center was having some financial challenges. And myself and a small team looked at that facility on Thursday. We met with its president, Mr. Jim Bento, at the time on Friday, had breakfast with him on Saturday, and on Monday at 2 o'clock had a discussion with its owners, Suntex Marinas, and at 2:09 that afternoon, 9 minutes into the conversation, we had an agreement to purchase a facility in 5 days, because sometimes duration is the risk. Sometimes moving things in what we know to be is the right direction is the right move. It's an intelligent risk, and I appreciated the manager articulating what is going to happen from here. I'm also a member of the board of directors for Tidewater Community College, and in that role, I've had the pleasure of working with Mr. Justin Ballard, which I think many of you have met with MEB. And I can tell you, he's a man of competence and character. And I've been in their war room at their facility in Virginia Beach and see the disciplines that they exercise and the developments and the quality that they exercise in their developments. And I just want to commend what they've done here. They've taken a risk. They've said duration is the risk. They've made investment. I wasn't aware of how many meetings they've had with the city to put the floor plan together until tonight, but you see the diligence that has been done. And so I just come to you to commend the vision that this council has had. Similar to city council, there has been discussions about the jail. And everyone could agree that wasn't the best location for the jail. I think what you're asking tonight and what you're demonstrating to even evaluate this, I suspect some of you are going to miss this view. This is a nice view. The view at County Street's not going to be as nice. Fairlead has our home office on the corner of Crawford and High Street. We have a lot of employees who park in the parking lot that would be developed. We're going to miss that parking lot if we move forward with this, but that we're willing to make that sacrifice because we see it as a superior use of this waterfront and of that parking lot. So I just ask you, look at the goodwill that this team has put forward. Look at what they've done. Look at the vision. Ask yourself, why not now? Why not this council? Why would we not proceed with this? What is in our way? What leadership do we have that can ensure all the risks that have been brought up can be mitigated, and this is the best development for the city? Duration is a risk. So is not getting it right. We often, on a teeter-totter, we put all the technical aspects way ahead of the time, and I'd say don't fall to that temptation. Private companies can move with alacrity and make big decisions in 5 days. Do the same. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. This is a public hearing. If you wish to come speak on this item, state your name and address. You will have 5 minutes.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, City Council members, and of course our City Manager and City staff. My name is Tony Goodwin. I reside in the historic section of the Parkview neighborhood here in downtown. And like many have said before, we've obviously taken a lot of interest in this concept. And of course, as Mr. Bahina said, this is nothing new in this location because of the Amarda Hoffler proposal that also came to this same site. You know, a little history, as I always like to bring in here for context and understanding, we are looking at it at this frame of getting into the interim agreement. But, you know, City Hall in Portsmouth was not necessarily City Hall for a long time. It was Town Hall in the parking lot directly behind the 1846 courthouse. Until temporarily it moved into the Seaboard Railroad Station, which is number 1 High Street, just down the street. Temporarily, until, of course, a new City Hall and it could be established. And most of this actually on this waterfront, everybody always talks about why would we build municipal buildings and non-taxable properties on the waterfront? Well, they had to condemn all the seedy bars that were down here and railroad property and everything else. And when we didn't have a seawall, this was not very desirable property. So hence the reason we have city buildings on property that we had to condemn and take for the public good. That's the reason we're here. Now, fast forward to this building being built in the late 70s, early 80s. The building's less than 50 years old, and we know, as citizens, and a lot of you up here know, this building has not lived a very healthy life. You know, back when the building was covered in bricks, and the bricks were literally falling off at 5th floor, 6th floor, and down onto the plaza, the building was falling apart for whatever reason, if it was maintenance or if it was just not built the proper way. We've obviously spent a lot of money in this building. That's beside the point. It needs to be replaced. It's tired. We know that. And where we put it is very, very important. But I also caution you in saying that if we put it in downtown and we want to think big and we want to have vision, I think having a city hall that's so much smaller than a massive parking garage just across the Middle Street Mall might be something to think about and say, okay, listen, they're building buildings, and as I shared with a couple of you on council, buildings whereas parking is actually in the first and to the maybe fifth or sixth floor, and the city hall building is actually on top, but it looks like one 12-story building. That may be a savings if you think about how they're building construction now. Whereas you elevate the building, you create prominence. The city actually owns, of course, and some of you may not know, the city owns 2 out of the 3 buildings of Guardian Court, which is directly across the street from this property, whereas, of course, Easy Pass and the ERC is housed as a tenant to that property owner, but otherwise the city owns the dispatch building and, of course, the detective bureau, and we're moving all those guys, I hope, to a new public safety complex, which will be vacant at some point in time. So what I'm suggesting is we can actually create another civic complex as a feature to what we're talking about building here at this particular site where you're proposing to build City Hall. Now, take into consideration, these are only just concepts and things that you just think about as you're going through your process, but also take into consideration that this one particular parcel is actually in the historic district. The side where you're proposing to build the parking garage is not. So when you're looking at the aesthetic features of the exterior of the building, when it comes to the architect making a design, they need to take those situations in consideration as well. You're asking the citizens to build new buildings that would infill into historic districts. We also need to do the same thing for city buildings. And I believe when I was on the Downtown Design Commission is when the Children's Museum went through and we tried to say, hey, we don't like neon lights on the outside or LED lights. Well, it was outside the historic district, really didn't have a voice. But we have this property and it will be in an historic district, so take that into consideration too under the design process if we get to that point. But again, I think what's more important in my conversation or my comments tonight is that consider the multi-level facility parking and realize that when you do open up this waterfront development for building, there'll probably be about 1,000 to 2,000 car parking garage built with it by a private developer. So you will have parking probably exceeding what you would actually build right behind the Children's Museum. So just take that into consideration when you're thinking about how much it's going to cost and, of course, how much the design has form and function. That's what's key. But thank you very much for taking and spearheading this under this direction of council and leadership. It's an exciting time for Portsmouth for many, many reasons, and I'm looking forward to being part of that as well. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else to wish to come and speak on this public hearing item? Seeing none, this public hearing item is closed. We will be voting on both those public hearing items in the consent agenda. Our next item, 26-71. Public hearing items on use permit applications. Item A, UP-25-16. And Madam Clerk, would you please read the resolution we are considering for this item?
Resolution granting the request of Community Housing Partners for a use permit to construct multifamily dwellings at approximately 2.3 combined acres located at 2216 and 2220 Waldron Avenue in the multifamily urban residential zoning district. The properties are owned by Portsmouth Acton Square LP. The future land use map of the Bill 1 Portsmouth Comprehensive Plan designates this property for low to medium density single-family residential. Planning Commission recommends approval with conditions, and the resolution reads, a resolution granting a use permit to Community Housing Partners Corporation to construct and operate a 2-building multifamily dwelling development having not to exceed 39 total dwelling units at 2216 and 2220 Waldron Avenue.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Is the applicant present? If you will come forward, sir, state your name and address. You will have 10 minutes.
Good afternoon. My name is Milo Pfeffer. I'm an affordable housing developer in Christiansburg, Virginia, is where our company is based at, 448 Depot Street, Northeast, Christiansburg, Virginia. We are requesting an extension, or I guess a new adoption of this conditional use permit. We are facing delays at the site that were unforeseen. As part of the package, I believe you saw that there is a geotechnical report that was conducted earlier or later last year, which revealed some unforeseen conditions at the site, which required us to conduct additional work, specifically surcharging, which will need to be done, and that would put us past the deadline for the use permit, which we are under right now, of July of this year, to have footers in the ground. There are no changes to the proposed plans since we initially submitted them in 2023. And if you have any questions about the site, I'm happy to answer them. And thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, sir. Are there any questions from my colleagues on council? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a public hearing. If you wish to come and speak on this public hearing item, you will come forward, state your name and address. You will have 5 minutes. Seeing none, this public hearing item is closed. Council members, we're in need of a motion and a second.
Move adoption.
Second.
Any additional discussion on this item? Seeing none, please vote electronically.
This item has been adopted 7-0.
Our next item, item B, UP-25-17. And Madam Clerk, would you please read the resolution that we are considering for this item?
Resolution granting the request of C. Nesbitt for a use permit for the development of 3 townhouse units on approximately .16 acres located at 1607 Prentice Avenue in the multifamily urban residential zoning district. The future land use map of the Bill 1 Portsmouth Comprehensive Plan designates this property for mixed residential uses. Planning Commission recommends approval with conditions, and the resolution reads, a resolution granting a use permit to C. Nesbitt to construct 3 townhouse units at 1607 Prentice Avenue.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Is the applicant present? You would come forward, sir, state your name and address. You will have 5 minutes. Or 10 minutes, I'm sorry. 10 minutes, sir.
Thank you. Good evening, City Council. My name is Irving Henderson, and I'm the designer on this project.
Good evening. My name is Curtis Nesbitt. I'm the owner.
Thank you for listening to us about this project here. Once again, I'm here with the owner, Mr. Nesbitt. Mr. Nesbitt isn't just a developer. He's also a former resident of Prentice Avenue. He used to live directly next door to the proposed townhome site and wants to bring a new uplifting design to his former neighborhood. Mr. Nesbitt currently lives in Old Town Portsmouth. He has a real relationship with the neighborhood and the people that lives in this neighborhood. In my 20 years of being a designer, this is the first time I ever worked with a developer who's actually from the neighborhood. So it's very refreshing to be in this situation with Mr. Nesbitt here. We are offering to the community 3 new single-family townhomes. These townhomes were designed with large families in mind. Each unit will have 4 bedrooms and 2.5 baths. Each unit will have a true front yard, most townhomes don't, and plenty of backyard space. Some townhomes almost sit directly on the sidewalk, only a couple of feet from the sidewalk. These townhomes will sit 30 feet from the sidewalk, giving plenty of front yard space for the new owners and a sense of privacy as well. The front yard space will also have plenty of grass and not just a concrete slab for parking. And of course, it will have all-street parking. Each unit will have 2 off-street parkings for each unit. This will also allow for current street traffic not to be affected by asking for forgiveness to put parking onto the street. We really took our time in designing these townhomes to avoid asking for any forgiveness from the zoning board for any type of setback requirements, parking requirements, or overall dimension of these new homes. With Mr. Nesbitt being from this community, he has firsthand knowledge of what type of design will work seamlessly with the community and with the existing homes as well. I'm not for sure if there will be a slide presentation or not, but
Did you provide any slides, sir?
the representative from zoning said slides will be provided. So
Manager Carter, you want to take that?
Ms. Russell, do you have a slide presentation for the gentleman here?
We do. It appears that there's perhaps a problem with the projection. We might need to pull up
check with
our
the-
PowerPoint and remove the other one.
Let me,
Okay, we'll take a moment. We'll work it out. It's okay.
no rush.
We'll pause your 10 minutes.
Appreciate that. I'm finished anyway, but appreciate it.
Okay, that's the West Craddock one, so, okay. There we go. There we go. There we go.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Gentlemen, you may continue.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about the slides. Yep, so as you see, this is the overall view, the satellite view of the neighborhood. Mr. Nesby used to live right next door at 16 what?
1615.
1615, so he's from this neighborhood, and he's trying to reinvest back into his neighborhood. Next slide, please. This is the elevation view of it, and he used to live to the right? Yeah, the house to the right, that used to be his neighborhood, his home. Okay, next slide, please. Once again, that's just the street view of the neighborhood. Plenty of off-street parking, but we don't have to worry about that because we have plenty of on-street parking, but we don't have to worry about that because we will be providing off-street parking. Next slide, please. These are some of the homes that's in the neighborhood. We try to follow those type of homes where they have a gable in the front or like a reverse gable on the side. So we went with the same design. Next slide, please. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so these are the homes here with the gable on the side. We have a front porch. We made sure we didn't do too much slab in the front, just enough concrete slab for parking and grass just to keep the water, storm water from rushing onto the street and just to give the new owners a sense of home with grass in the front for their dogs or whatever else they want to use. We have front porch as well. All right, next slide, please. That's the overall view showing the grass in the front, showing the parking. The one in the middle, we did the back-to-back because the one in the middle is only 17 and some change wide. Each space needed to be 9 feet wide, so we didn't have enough to do the side-by-side, so we stacked them in the middle, which I actually like because it opened up the area more with more grass. Next slide, please. And that's just some more, where the dimensions are cut off on this one, but on the left-hand side, we had some dimensions on it just to show the overall height of each one. First level 9 feet tall for the ceiling height, and then the other two are 8 feet. Okay, next slide, please. Side view, we do have decking in the back, a deck in the back for them to enjoy. And like I said, we have the gable on the side, similar to the other houses that's already in the neighborhood. Okay, next slide. And that's the rear, showing the balconies in the rear, sliding door. We're gonna have a patio in the back, plenty of space in the back. Going to have it fenced off as well. Next slide. Just some more views, just giving you an idea of how it's going to look. And like I said, once again, the townhomes would be sitting 30 feet from the front, 30 feet from the sidewalk. So sometimes these new developments kind of sit directly onto the street almost, which I think are eyesores. So we would definitely push them back far enough to not to impose on any neighbors or to stick out like a sore thumb. Next slide, please. And that's pretty much it. Unless we could go, we have a floor plan too. I don't see it coming up. Yeah, the floor plan wasn't included. But like I said, it's going to be, or unless there's some more slides, you could keep going. Is that it? That's it. Okay. 4 bedrooms and 2.5 baths. So pretty big for families in that area. And that's it for me. You good? Okay. All right. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you both. Are there any questions from my colleagues on council? Seeing none, I do want to say to the both of you, we appreciate the city of Portsmouth when folks like yourselves, particularly Mr. Nesbitt, having lived in the community, come back to make a commitment to our community. It's certainly something that we encourage others to do, and we're appreciative of the fact that you are participating in that type of redevelopment in our communities. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a public hearing. You are not required to have signed up to speak on this item. If you come forward, state your name and address, you will have 5 minutes. Seeing none, this public hearing is closed. Council members, we are in need of a motion and a second.
Move adoption.
Second.
Any additional discussion? Seeing none, please vote electronically.
This item has been adopted 7-0.
Thank you. That concludes our public hearing items. We're now moving on to our city manager's report consent agenda, item 26-72. And do we have we do have a public speaker. We do have a speaker for this item.
Did you want me to read them first and then go to speaker?
Excuse me?
Did you want me to read the items first and then?
Yes, yes.
Item A, adoption of an ordinance accepting funding in the amount of $33,235 from the Virginia Crisis Intervention Team Coalition and appropriating said funds in the FY 2026 Behavioral Healthcare Service Fund for use in furtherance of the Portsmouth Crisis Intervention Program. An ordinance accepting, item B, an ordinance accepting $4,250,000 from the State General Fund and appropriating said amount in the sewer pump station improvements project in the FY 2026 Capital Improvement Fund budget for sanitary sewer pump station upgrades. Item C, a resolution authorizing the Norfolk Redevelopment and Housing Authority to provide and administer project-based vouchers and sale apartments in accordance with Section 36-23 of the Code of Virginia. And item D, a resolution authorizing the negotiation of an interim agreement pursuant to the City Hall Parking Garage PPA proposal.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And we do have a registered speaker for the consent agenda, and that is Mark Adoldig-Yatrovsky. Sir, if you would come forward, state your name and address. You will have 5 minutes.
So, Mayor, Council, and other neighbors, I was tremendously heartened to hear the city manager say that this is going to begin a process, but it is not the culmination of the process. That was not clear to me from the material in the agenda. It is reasonable to go down this path. Clearly, this old building isn't what it used to be. I remember it when it was brand spanking new, or pretty close to it. And it's probably weathered the ensuing slings and arrows of outrageous fortune at least as well as I have, if not better. We're still able to sit here, talk here, carry on some business here. It's not falling down around our ears. So hooray for the folks who put it together in the first place and those who have maintained it diligently in the interim. But we are in a new era, and in public buildings, 50 years and more is a very long time. It's not like your house. It's not like my house. There are people coming and going at all hours and in larger numbers than we could ever accommodate in our homes. So it is fitting and proper for us to seek out alternatives to living with this relic of the past, this old house. And if the 35% design reveals the answers to some of those holes in the presentation along the way, that's a benefit to the public as well, to see where we are going, what it's really going to cost us, and what the benefits and liabilities are. So I'm in favor of this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Council members, we're in need of a motion and a second.
Move adoption.
Any additional discussion? Oh, I'm sorry. Councilman Tillage, sir, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, I want to just have City Manager, if you could just clarify the process in which we received the unsolicited bid and then it was opened up to the public, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay, so and it was opened up for how long?
The requirement was to be open 45 days, but I think we were open about 60 days. So we exceeded what was required.
Got you. So once the city received it, we did open it up for opportunity for other developers and businesses to submit as well.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And then my last point is I just want to mention that earlier the city manager mentioned that the vote for 26-72 is to solely allow him and his professional staff to be able to move forward with the negotiation of an interim agreement. With that being said, as negotiations commence, I want to be very clear that I expect minority and women-owned businesses to be top priority in this development. We are a majority minority city, and this project must reflect that of this community. I'm looking forward to more than just good faith efforts, and I expect to see a plan that is robust and meaningful for minority and women-owned businesses all across all phases of the development. Our city's investment should directly benefit our local, diverse economy, and I look forward to seeing how this team intends to meet those expectations throughout the negotiation phase with specific, meaningful percentage goals as we move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments from our colleagues? We have a motion and a second. No additional discussion. Please vote electronically.
This item has been adopted 7-0. Well, the consent agenda has been adopted 7-0.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Next, we will move to our next agenda item, new business, item 26-73, boards and commissions. And Councilman Hugel, do we have any boards and commissions?
We have no board and commission business this evening, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Next item, item 26-74, items submitted by council members. Are there any items submitted? Councilman Dotson, sir, you have the floor.
Thank you, sir. At previous meetings, we've discussed an audit position that we took off the pillars, and I'd love to have a robust discussion on how we solve that problem brought to our agenda in the future.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Any other items? Councilwoman Thomas, sir, you have the floor.
Yes, thank you. I just want to say I agree with that, to bring that. I know we have other positions we are looking into right now, but I think I would like to also see that added to our next agenda if we can get that discussion going, or our next work session item. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other items submitted by council members? Councilwoman Bryant, ma'am, you have the floor.
Thanks, Mayor. Thank you to the Heat Wall Partners for being here tonight and bringing your presentation. Looking forward to continued discussion as we look ahead to development along the waterfront. As we saw tonight from Mr. Edwards' presentation, we know it's significant for us to use this property wisely. Also, thank you to Mr. Nesbitt for bringing his project before us. Very excited for him and for that to move forward. Wanted to thank our schools. Many of us spent this last week reading across America, and it's always a wonderful opportunity for us to visit our schools, to be amongst the children, and to promote that message of lifelong learning. So thank you to our school partners for inviting us in and allowing us to share that day with you all. Thank you.
Councilwoman Thomas, ma'am, you have the floor.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Something I forgot to mention for an upcoming work session request as well. We talked a lot about our MWBE. Mr. Carter, you have updated us before about the hiring of an MWBE, I believe, program manager. Can we get some more information about how, not just for the City Hall development, but just all our future development, continue to make sure that that pillar and importance is a part of these future conversations with development? Just an update of how that program is moving along, how it's being incorporated in our city processes, so that we continue to keep an eye on MWBE involvement as well. So thank you.
Yes, ma'am. If you look in your report back, well, not the report back, but the monthly report, there's always something in there about the status of that. But if you want something in particular, we
Yes.
absolutely can bring that
Yes,
to you.
and I did see that, and I always appreciate your very detailed reports, Mr. Carter. But I'm just looking to make sure that we have a better understanding of, throughout our processes, as we evaluate future CIP, future development, how that continues to be at the forefront, and just the overall briefing would be helpful, I think, as a council, on where we stand with that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next item is report on pending items. Mr. Carter, item 26.
Thank you, Mayor. Check emails. Ms. Hogg is going to send you the report back. It was my fault. I didn't get through it today. There's some events that happened in City Hall that kind of took me away from being able to approve that. But I finally got that approved and back to her, so she's emailed those things to you. So thank you guys for that, and thank you, Ms. Hogg.
Next item, item 26-76, non-agenda speakers. Madam Clerk, would you please read the non-agenda speaker item? Read the speaker statement.
City council rules require a limit of up to 5 minutes to speak. As you approach the speaker's podium, you will notice a timer. At the beginning of your 5 minutes, you will see a green light. 4 minutes into your remarks, you will notice a yellow light. At the end of 5 minutes, you will see a red light, hear a beep, and we ask that you conclude your comments at that time. While speakers have an opportunity to address council on matters of public concern, all comments should be made in a manner that respects the seriousness of the forum and should not be made in a belligerent, sarcastic, or demeaning fashion. All remarks shall be directed to the City Council as a body rather than to any particular member of City Council, staff, or the audience, and should be limited to matters that only the Portsmouth City Council can influence. A speaker who fails to observe this basic rule of decorum will be deemed out of order and not allowed to conclude her comments.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Our first speaker tonight, Lindsay Jones. Lindsay Jones, if you would come forward, state your name and address. You will have 5 minutes.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of City Council, and Portsmouth citizens. My name is Lindsay Jones. I live at 1603 Barron Street in the West Parkview section of Portsmouth. I've lived in West Parkview for the past 25 years. I'm here tonight to speak about the Oak Grove/Portlock Cemetery, the brick wall which runs along Pennsylvania Avenue, as well as the condition of the iron fencing along London Boulevard. All of you should have received a package from me about a month ago. Mr. Carter, I apologize if I have not given you a copy. I will make sure that you get one. When I first moved here, the gates on Peninsula Avenue were locked at night, but have not been done so for the last few years, therefore allowing dumping of trash, vandalism of markers, as well as illicit sexual activities in the cemetery. I have for years brought this concern to the Community League. I have the full agreement and unanimous support of the West Parkview Community League members concerning this urgent need to maintain the structure as well as the cemetery on the whole. A brief note. I have worked on restoring numerous American 18th century and 19th century buildings, both in Newport, Rhode Island and Norfolk, including log cabins in Virginia, as well as a building started in the 9th century in England. I am familiar with the types of mortar necessary to repair older brick structures such as this wall. The wall has been in need of repair, pointing up, as well as some reconstruction of one of the columns in order to maintain its integral strength for some time. Ooh, got two of them that time, okay? Should this wall be removed, from what I understand, a new metal wall is being considered to replace it. Should this occur, the result is the neighborhood will become just another visual open space. The cost of removing the wall and placing a new iron one will be more expensive than restoration. The wall at present creates a feeling of security and peace for the residents of West Parkview, and this is a very mixed neighborhood, and all the people there like one another, as well as the parts of Parkview. An additional benefit to the wall is to stabilize property values in both neighborhoods. A visual reminder of the importance of this cemetery to the public in general is the number of markers and flowers that have been placed on that regularly over the past number of years. The cemetery may be considered to be the western border of the city of Portsmouth and is reinforced by the wall's construction in the 1850s. Portsmouth relies for a considerable amount of its revenue from tourists, local, regional, national, and international tourists as well. This is in part due to the age and importance of our national story, as well as the international reputation of Gosport Shipyard and the Portsmouth Naval Shipyard. Interred in the cemetery are representatives from all of the armed forces, from the Civil War to present, of all races. It is well documented that 2 congressmen and 3 Medal of Honor winners are interred there. It is my understanding that the property maintenance of the cemetery is a city responsibility. We hope the city will also adhere to the code of enforcement standards as set forth in February. It is my hope that those citizens of West Parkview that the wall be maintained in a manner befitting the status as a historical structure and a reminder to all its citizens of our collective and combined history. I thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Dotson, sir, you have the floor.
Thank you, sir. I wanted to remind everybody that my ancestry in this city goes back further than most people in this room, and many of my ancestors are buried in this cemetery. I'd love some attention to be paid to it.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Moody, sir. Vice Mayor Moody, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. The wall of the cemetery certainly has historic value. I don't think we should sit idle and just let the wall continue to deteriorate. With that said, Mr. Manager, perhaps you can come back with council with some options and even some cost of repairing the wall versus replacing it. I would hope that we could repair it, since it does have historic value. So hopefully you can get back with us on some remedies.
I have something, so I'll send it to you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Mr. Sergio Neal. Mr. Neal, if you would come forward, state your name and address. You will have 5 minutes.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of council. I'm Sergio Neal. I reside at 2101 Nashville Avenue here in the city of Portsmouth. So we know the seasons are getting ready to change. It's getting warmer outside, thank God. I think our kids are more excited than anybody here. But I think we must be proactive as we approach the spring and summer seasons. As we can look to our neighboring cities, such as in Virginia Beach, to see what happened this past weekend at the oceanfront, I don't think we should stand by and be idle and wait until something like that happens here in Portsmouth. I understand that we have a good, robust spring break program that Parks and Rec is working very, very hard to put together for the youth for spring break. However, I would like to see more programming that engages our youth throughout the rest of the year. Because keep in mind that violence knows no season. It doesn't take a break. It doesn't stop. It doesn't go on vacation. It goes on all year long. I don't think that it would be fair to our youth and to our city as a whole to say that spring break or summer break, whenever break, is enough focus on the problem at hand, on the issue at hand. I'm a person about solutions. One solution I can say is that I would think it would be mindful to have a kind of a town hall, maybe incorporated during spring break, just for the youth and our city leadership to get together and to really, really take that session and hear directly from them as to what our youth would like to see going forward in this city. Because if you think about tonight, there were a lot of projects being discussed, you know, moving City Hall, some new houses coming around, townhomes being developed. But what do we have coming for our youth to really look forward to? So I will hope that in that session that there's a real attention to what our youth would like to see come up for our city. Because remember, the kids that we have now will be the adults of the future of the city, and they will inherit whatever we start planning for them now, whatever initiatives we start putting forth for them now. So let's be mindful of their voice and their opinions when we're looking to the overall growth of the city, because I feel like that at the end of the day, the youth are as valuable as any adult in this room. They come with a lot of different ideas. They come with a lot of, creativity. Some of us, we are old school methods. I'm probably one of those too, just because of the people I was raised around. But, I'm always open to listening to our youth and to see, where their mindset is, and to see, like, what do they really want to have come of Portsmouth. Because I can tell being a person that has lived across Hampton Roads and even out of state before and then come back to Portsmouth, I would say, there has to be something to keep our youth here. We want to grow. Like, we want to really grow. We want to be, a bigger city than what we are. Like, we want to have as many people here as we can. However, the opportunity has to be there. Any person, up and coming in the world always looks for where the opportunities are the closest, and they grow their roots there. People that are, growing families, starting families or whatever, they're looking for what opportunities are around. So, let's really, hone in on those opportunities and see what our youth have to say and what they would like to see. In closing, I would like to say this. I really think that, we have, there's a lot of good youth initiatives across the city that are going on right now by way of Portsmouth United and some other programs. I think the city really, really, I like what, has been come of promoting that, but we really need to promote that even more to really let people know, because people still ask, what is Portsmouth United? Some people don't even know how the grants work. And when that starts to come out, then, of course, the misinformation starts of how the grants work with Portsmouth United. They, put out misinformation of people abusing those grant funds. So I would think that if we could do anything, let us hone in on those opportunities to really educate people what these programs really entail. Thank you.
And Mr. Neal, before I open it up for questions, you are aware that the Portsmouth United program meets every Thursday at the Welcome Center. Are you aware of that?
Yes, sir. I'm there
Right,
as many
and so-
Thursdays
and so
as I
you-
can.
And you can encourage your friends and others to join you in that place so that they can be informed and updated. So that's a good point that you make.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you very much.
Yes, sir.
Councilwoman Bryant, ma'am, you have the floor.
Thanks, Mayor, and thank you, Mr. Neal. You've brought up lots and lots of great points, and I want you to know that we are having conversations about youth involvement and have specifically, shared some of your thoughts about the youth being the future of the city, and it's important to have them involved. And I was fortunate to attend the Portsmouth United meeting on Thursday and was glad to see it was a very full room. There was a lot of conversation about Peace Week. So I'm glad you brought this to us because it's a good opportunity to remind everyone that Peace Week is the Portsmouth United initiative to keep kids engaged and safe during spring break. They are in the planning process now, finalizing plans. It's a number, I think it's 36 or so community organizations that are coming together to offer programming for kids. This is separate from the parks programs, but this is free programming for kids. And they also have released a new app for easier access to information. So if you have a smartphone, you can find the app in your app store. It's called Portsmouth Buzz, like a bee, Buzz. And you can also find information on their Facebook page if you follow them at Portsmouth United. All of that will be forthcoming, and it's very important for parents to know where to find those so that they can sign kids up for those free programs. Portsmouth United is still a new department for us, program for us. So we're always encouraging people to come to those meetings and to share the word. So it's always good to talk about it. Thank you for reminding us to bring that information forward tonight. And certainly look forward for more information about Peace Week specifically that will be coming out very soon.
Yes,
Thank you, Mr. Neal.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Vice Mayor Moody, sir, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilwoman Bryant actually covered it very well. I was at the same Portsmouth United meeting this past week. I was really surprised at the turnout and also with the engagement from the folks that were there. It sounds like to me they're planning along with Peace Week. They're really focused on activities for the youth, including basketball, and I think even some youth teams. So it was a good experience. Ms. Matthews did a great job engaging the folks that were there. It is a new program, Portsmouth United to the city, so I think we're going to be seeing even more good things for our youth coming out of that organization. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. And Councilwoman Thomas, ma'am, you have the floor.
Yes, thank you. I won't be long, but thank you, Mr. Neal, for coming to speak about the youth and just making sure we keep them at the forefront as we continue to, do development across the city, do different programmings. And Councilwoman Bryant laid out just some of the great things that Portsmouth United has coming up, so as well as Vice Mayor Moody. But one thing that we did discuss at our previous work session today were additional CIP projects. And in that project list, just for the public that didn't have a chance to see, was potential for our vision for the Sportsplex. And knowing that, we talked about it several retreats ago, the need for an aquatic center. And so to develop and have more activities at that particular Sportsplex site for the youth. So that's in our vision, is on the, in our CIP briefing that we received today. So we have not lost vision for that. And I think it's important that we all continue to, as we're developing the waterfront, as we're talking about City Hall development, as we're talking about, future investment for a new K-8 school, new Churchill Middle School, that we also talk about the reinvestment in our communities so that our kids continue to have access to those activities. So thank you for just, Frank, coming to speak on that today. But I wanted to let you know that's something that we just discussed at our earlier session. I specifically asked, like, hey, is this sportsplex that's in here for that future aquatic center? And yes, it is. So thank you.
Our next speaker, David Whitfield. Mr. Whitfield, if you would come forward, state your name and address. You will have 5 minutes.
How are you doing? My name is David Whitfield. I am here to raise concern about Ms. Julia Spicer, the records chief coordinator for
Sir, excuse me. Under our rules, we don't call out individuals.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, we don't call out individuals. If you want to speak to a specific concern, you have every right to do that. However, this council does not have any jurisdiction, or we do not have any control over legal matters.
Understood.
I'm just prefacing you. If that's what you're going to talk about, then you need to change the direction. If you don't change the direction, I'm going to have to ask you to respectfully take a seat.
This isn't about any legal matter, sir.
Okay, go ahead, sir. You have the floor.
This is about FOIA request forms that I've turned in about a situation and the misconduct, an officer misconduct report. There are multiple on, this incident happened on October the 5th, and it happened at 1015 Broad Street. I am here trying to make awareness that Portsmouth Internal Affairs and my records were incomplete, done by the records coordinator of Portsmouth Police Department. I have also brought proof of my allegations.
Sir, excuse me. Do you currently have a legal court case pending?
No, this is just honestly
Okay.
me just being wanting transparency between our police department and the city. And this is what the FOIA process is made for. Stanley is just as that point. And I would just like the council to hear what I've brought in. I'm not going to talk anymore.
Because as I shared with you, we can't affect, council cannot affect what you're asking us for. So because we can't affect that change, then it is what it is.
I understand, sir. This is just my 5 minutes. I was going to bring this to the council just because this is a public figure and we are trying to just have transparency
Point of order.
between our police department.
What's your point of order? Hold on, sir. We have a call for a point of order.
The speaker is playing a audio tape, apparently,
3
of
minutes.
this incident.
Sir?
This is just an incident of me talking to Miss Julia Spicer.
Sir?
Yes, sir.
The point of order is taken. Either change your course of discussion or have a seat. Either change your order of discussion or have a seat.
Well, I would just like to bring to the council's attention that that police records are not being transparent through the FOIA process. And through this process, you pay for any types of call to service. You pay for any type of officers that you may have interacted with, or just a situation that happens to ensure that the situation is on the correct level. I am just here to make sure that the transparency is being done by the people that we elect and by the people that we put in office. There's issues here that I would like to rise and bring to the council and to bring to be forthcoming that I can only prove by bringing what I'm saying. Only here for clarity for everyone who puts in FOIA requests and everyone who has the right to file a misconduct report on any officer if they think that something is wrong and should not be harassed nor belittled for doing so.
Sir, your point well taken. I just shared with you, either you change your course, this is the last time I'm going to tell you, or you have a seat. Which would you choose?
Well,
Your time is up, sir. Have a seat.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our speakers for this evening. If you have any additional questions or concerns, please share with us after the meeting. Thank you all for coming, and have a safe travel home. Good night.